Good morning, everybody. This is the Manoli's Musings podcast. I am your host, Manoli, as always. The day is Thursday, April 7th, 2022, and it's a big day today. We got baseball opening day delayed, but finally here. And as always, go Dodgers. And anybody else, I don't root for them. Some people, they like to have like four or five teams. I never understood this. It's like, can't you pick one? Can't you pick one team? Why you gotta like everyone, huh? You pick one and you stick with them. Otherwise, you're just full of crap. But I digress. Well, Manoli, maybe they lived in two different places growing up, and they like both of their teams. Well, you know what? They should pick one. Pick one of the two. Don't root for eight teams. It's just not. It's not a good look, people. You got to stay loyal to your team through thick and thin, through fire and ice and fire, through blood and sweat and tears and all of the above. You got to stick with your team, and I stick with my Dodgers, baby, because I love them. Um, Today's also the first day of the Masters, so that'll be good. It's a great lineup this year. I'm excited. Yeah, what's going on? Oh, congratulations to your University of South Carolina Lady Gamecocks for winning the women's basketball national championship. We couldn't be more proud of them. Congrats to them. We're very happy, very happy. We thank you to, I don't know who I'm thanking here. I didn't win anything. Thank you, Lady Gamecocks, for making us proud. How about that? Huh? See how I turned that around? It's amazing. I sabotage myself, but I always get myself out. But seriously, I mean, look at what Dawn Staley's done with this team, this program. I mean, just a remarkable job. Her second title with the Lady Gamecocks, and we couldn't be more proud of her. We couldn't be more happy for the team. We were watching. We watched, and we. I mean, they just dominated the game. It was not even a question that they were going to come out ahead. I mean, they were just in control, in the zone, just dominated. And I mean, it's a great performance. And when they won, as we knew they would, I was with my friends. We did a celebratory shot. We sang our alma mater. We ran to the fountain on campus. They have a big fountain in front of the library, and we jumped in there, or more accurately, we stepped in because we didn't want to get. It's like a foot deep, so we didn't want to jump in and break our spines. But we celebrated in there. It was a whole lot of fun. You had they had the fountains on. People were screaming, yelling, crying, taking pictures, shaking hands. It was fantastic. It was great. It was a great memory. Nice for my senior year. Nice. It's like my last. I got like less than a month of school left. It's scary, but it was great. We're very happy for the Lady Gamecocks. Um, I probably contracted some kind of flesh-eating amoeba standing in that dirty water, but it's okay. It's worth it. It's a once in a lifetime thing. So, congrats again to the Lady Gamecocks. Um, yeah, who won the men's? I don't know. I don't really follow it, to be honest with you. I follow my team, but I don't. Once they're out, I don't care. You know. Gee, isn't that a good attitude to have? Well, there's only so many hours of the day. I can't be watching people that I'm not invested in. If it doesn't reflect on me, I don't want to hear it. How about that? Monday, I have some kind of tension in my neck. I don't know what's going on. It's all out of whack. And I had a gift card for a massage. I'm like, I think I'm gonna go. I go in there. I told the lady, I said, ma'am, I'm sorry, my neck is really bothering me. And of course, she spends like the least amount of time on that. I don't know what the logic was in that. But afterwards, she's like, I think I know why your neck has tension. I'm like, why? She's like, you need an adjustment on your shoulders. I'm like, my shoulders? What's wrong with my shoulders? She's like, one's higher than the other. I'm like, what? So I got that going for me. Yeah, I got uneven shoulders. Apparently, I don't know how that materialized. I've never been told that before in my life. But I'm just standing in the mirror. I'm like, what's? How is one higher than the other? I don't understand it. I'm like looking. I'm looking. I'm like, what do you mean? There's one. She said one's a lot higher than the other. I'm like, a lot. It's like, I don't know how this happens. So yeah, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do some stretches. I looked up. Maybe it'll alleviate my uneven shoulders. So Yeah, on top of everything, I got uneven shoulders now. Isn't that great? According to this lady, I don't know. Was she licensed? I don't think so. Doesn't mean she's wrong. It's just I don't. What is it? Is it like? I mean, I don't see what she's talking about is the issue, but maybe that's why. I don't know. My neck feels better now, so maybe it went away. um, and I was watching this video on YouTube. It was like, you know how people like to make lists. They always got to make a list. It's like the top 10, the top 10 anything. It could be the top 10 paperclip brands. They make a list for anything in existence. Has a list. You know, the top 10 this, the top 20 this, the top 5 this, the top 100 songs of all time. Rolling Stone, they did that top 500 songs of all time, which was horrible, by the way. They did a horrible job on that. I don't know who they consulted. Well, then they did an updated one, and it's like, how do you? They like dropped like all kinds of great songs from the list. They were like "Sympathy for the Devil" went to like number 300 on the list. I mean, I don't know. So after decades, you release a list, and then 5 years later you update it, and now all of a sudden the song sucks. They took "Light My Fire" off the list. It's like who invented this list? Who's doing this? So these songs were great. They were one of the greatest songs of all times, and now they suck. What else was it? Mystery Train Elvis. They took that off the list. It's ridiculous. I mean, who's doing this? You have these great songs, and now you determine that they suck and they don't belong to be in the. It's so subjective. These people, they act like they know everything. It's all subjective, you know. What makes a great song? I don't know. I don't know. List. But anyway, I was looking at this list on YouTube. It was the top 10 best fighters in Westeros, which is the universe that the Game of Thrones and the Song of Ice and Fire, before somebody gets mad at me for not using the proper title, takes place in. I was thinking that people are so mad at George R.R. Martin for not finishing A Song of Ice and Fire, and I'm just like, I don't really blame him, to be honest with you. I mean, look at this guy. I mean, he's made all he needs to make. He's worth millions and millions of dollars. Very popular. He wrote 5 pretty good books. I mean, yeah, that's the problem. You should have announced that you were going to write 7 of these things. You should have just done it as it came. But anyway, apparently there's 2 more to go, and it's been like what 10 years since the 5th one came out, and people are all mad at him. I'm like, I really can't blame the guy because he's worth all this money. I mean, think about it. Would you rather be holed up in your office, sitting alone, writing a book all day? Would you rather be on the HBO set, hitting the craft services table with Amelia Clark? This is a no-brainer. I mean, I can't blame the guy for being distracted. It's no coincidence that 2011 was the last. That's when the last book came out, and that was also when the Game of Thrones show started. So, yeah, I would hang out on the HBO lot. And you know what? If somebody wants to finish a series so bad, they could do it. Could do it themselves. I mean, what? I mean, how much do you think of it? How much of it do you think he actually writes at this point? He's got to have like some nerd, some scribe that he's just like, all right, and this is what's going to happen, and you need to write this for me, and Bran the Broken will be the king, and just make it happen, okay? Just make it happen for me, and I'm going to go hang out with Natalie Dormer. Okay, does that sound good to you? Yes, thank you. That's what I would do. I can't blame George R. R. Martin one bit. And people want to say, "Oh, he's no J.R.R. Tolkien." Well, did J.R.R. Tolkien have to deal with? Did he have the carrot hanging in front of his eye that he gets to go hang out on the HBO set? I don't think so. I'm kidding. I've tried. I have tried and tried to get into the Lord of the Rings book. And there's something with the style. I'm not doubting this guy's genius, because for him to create this world is just beyond anything I could ever aspire to. It's just, for some reason, I have a hard time getting into those books. I'm going to try again. I really am. But yeah, I mean, no, J.R.R. Tolkien was obviously. I mean, he's a legend. So no, there's no comparison. But I like George R. R. Martin. I can't. I really can't fault him for not finishing those books. Maybe he will finish them. You don't know. Yeah, he's old, but he can still do it. The sixth one was supposed to be out last year. I don't know why he keeps giving dates out. He's been giving dates out for 10 years on this book. I don't know what happened with him. I think he just made it so complex and convoluted that he can't finish it. It's actually kind of baffling. Well, you know what? Whatever he does, people aren't going to be satisfied. Nobody's ever satisfied with anything anymore. These fans, they're so entitled. And I talked about that last time, so I don't want to get into it again. But it's just, why don't you try writing a hit series? You try finishing it when you got, you could be hanging out on the HBO set, you know, eating caviar or going on location to frickin' Dubrovnik or wherever else they went. That's what I would be doing. You know, I made the world, and then somebody else can pick it up from there. I've done my part. um, so that was Monday. Tuesday we had it was a catastrophic event. We had a catastrophic thunderstorm in the Columbia area. There was tornadoes, there was lightning, there was meteors from the sky, there was Cthulhu rising from the sea. There were waves crashing down on us. It was hailing. It was like the 10 plagues of Egypt. It was crazy out here. That's how the news would like you to believe it. Okay, it was some wind and some rain. All right, nothing flooded. Nothing flooded. There was a tornado. I don't think it did any damage in the area. There was some worse ones, a good distance away, but they sent out this alert. I mean, you would have thought that it was freaking North Korea sending a nuke on us. The way my phone went off, and I'm sitting there playing video games, and I just it goes. "Ah!" I'm like, oh, seriously? And it's like this is a life-threatening situation. I'm like, well, I'm dead. I'm dead. I mean, let's be honest here. I have nowhere to go. I'm on high ground. If there's a nuke coming, I don't know why they would hit Colombia, but if they did, I'm dead. There's no, at least for the time being, I'm dead. So I'm like, well, this is, if it starts out with a life threatening situation, it was nice knowing y'all. Right when this podcast was getting off the ground, it cut short this career that he's going to have in broadcasting and podcasting and whatever else, cut tragically short by North Korean nukes. Um, but it wasn't a nuke. It was a tornado warning. It said, seek shelter immediately. There has been a dangerous tornado moving at high speeds towards your area. I'm like, what is the thing is it gonna land on me? Anyway, but I did. I went into cover. I hid under the staircase, um, on the ground floor. Because I at the end of the day, is it worth the risk? You got to listen to what they say. Unfortunately, they blow it out of proportion all the time, and it desensitizes people. But you don't want to be that guy who says this is nothing, and then you get sucked out of your window and launched into the air, and then you land in the ditch somewhere. That's not what you want. But I waited for the 20 minutes or so that the warning was in effect, and I'm like, huh, well, I guess that's it. And I went back up to my apartment. I did a little weather report. I like to do those. I do these weather reports. I put them on my social media. These kind of like half parody, okay, a full parody weather reports, and I always exaggerate. I'm like, it's kind of like what I said here. I gave you an audio example, so you're welcome. Donations are always accepted, by the way. But anyway, but it was, yeah, the weather was bad. But I always like the storms though. It's kind of fun to watch. I was on my balcony. I heard someone scream. I'm like, oh gosh, what's going on down there? But nothing happened really. Some rain, some wind. It was done. I went and you know what happened after the warning? I was starving. I hadn't eaten all day, so I went to this place that's basically next to me, and I got some pizza because who doesn't like pizza? And I hadn't had a pizza. I haven't had a pizza in a while. So I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go get a pizza. And I walked out, and the sun was shining, the birds were chirping. It was like nothing ever happened. I'm like, huh? Well, how about that? How about that? And I got home and I was watching. I was on YouTube because I love to be productive by just watching YouTube and watching YouTube and watching YouTube, and one video leads to another. And I got somehow on this this clip from Maury. Um, this lady, I don't know what her problem was, but she was deathly afraid of olives. And I won't ruin the clip for you. Just if you haven't seen it, just look up Maury olives, and draw your own conclusions. I don't want to laugh at this woman because it was obvious that she was frightened, but I would just recommend looking up the clip. That's all I'm going to say on that. It's very it's very interesting, just the way Maury handled the situation, and her reaction was I don't want to spoil it. Just go look that up, okay? Um, you'll be interested. And I have to say, Maury has gotten a lot of flack over the years for some of the stuff that he's put on the show. Yeah, it is the definition of, it's. I'm sorry, but it's garbage. But it's entertaining, and that's all that counts. He gets all the criticism, and he finally gave it up. I think he gave it up. I think he's retired now. Him and Springer, they both got all the criticism. But you know what? I'll take either of those any day over that fraud Dr. Phil. At least they don't go around calling themselves a doctor. That guy's just a con artist. That guy, the people he puts on that show is just ridiculous. It's the dregs of society. He acts like he's trying to help them. No, he's just trying to shock people. I don't understand him. And he's like, I'm here to help, and then they end up worse off than they were before. Some of the things that he does is just Dr. Phil. I don't buy it. Okay, wherever you are, Dr. Phil, I know what you're doing. All right, Dr. Phil. Well, he has a doctorate, and you don't have anything. Does he have a doctorate? I don't know. Does he actually have? I think he has to have one if he calls himself doctor, right? Yeah, he must have one. I don't know what it's in though, but I digress. Is he an MD? Let me look this up. Hold on. He's typing. It's loading. Let's see. What? Oh gosh, what's wrong with my phone? What is wrong with society? That's a bigger question. What kind of doctor is Dr. Phil with one L? Philip Calvin McGraw, better known as Dr. Phil, is an American television personality, author, and the host of the television show Dr. Phil. He holds a doctorate in clinical psychology. Okay, well, that sounds legit. Though he ceased renewing his license to practice psychology in 2006. Huh. So he's not a licensed therapist. The plot thickens. I'm going to get a letter from the Dr. Phil show. It's going to, what? You want me to, I think you should invite me on, and then maybe I'll talk to you. But otherwise, contact my non-existent lawyer. All right? That's all I got to say to you. Moving on. Gosh, my throat is dry today. I don't understand it. What's going on here? Maybe it's because you woke up at 4 in the morning or 3 in the morning, Manoli, and you haven't gone back to sleep. Yeah, well, I got wrapped up down the rabbit hole of YouTube, and I'll get to that. But before I do, I have to talk about what happened on Wednesday, right? Try to keep a chronological order here. You should see these notes I have. This is ridiculous. Somebody's gonna find these, and they're gonna say whoever wrote this is insane. I have Maury olives. I have, what is this? I don't know what this is. There's no words here. There's no words on it. Thing sucks. Oh gosh, have y'all seen that video with Bill O'Reilly freaking out over the teleprompter? Go watch that. Please go watch it. Watch the olive thing and watch that if you've never seen it, because it is absolutely gold. Effing thing sucks. But yeah, that's, wow. A lot of energy at 9:30 a.m. after not sleeping. 9:36 a.m. to be precise. What was I saying? Oh, I saw this thing. It was on Facebook. Yeah, I know the first mistake was going to Facebook. But actually it was cool, okay? There was something good on Facebook, which is a rarity. And it was in some Dodger fan group I'm in. And it was a picture of the great Sandy Koufax celebrating on the mound in 1963 after the Dodgers swept the Yankees in the World Series. And somebody commented, they're like, the amazing thing was that the Dodgers used only 4 pitchers the entire series. I'm like, that can't be true. How, really? That cannot be true. They only use 4 pitchers for the whole World Series. That's insane. Sure enough, I looked it up, and the guy was absolutely right. He yeah, let me get this right. So game one, Koufax pitches a complete game, 15 strikeouts. Yeah, enough said, right? So that was one guy. Game two, uh, Johnny Podgers, Podgers. I don't know how to say this guy's name. I'm so sorry, Johnny Podgers. Um, Podres. I'm sorry. I butchered this. I don't know how to say this person's name. I'm so sorry. Somebody can correct me, please. Anyway, this guy pitches. He pitched like 8 in the third innings, and then somebody else closed it out. So that was three. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's one, two. Yeah, so Sandy, Johnny, and then the reliever. Game three, Don Drysdale pitches a complete game, and then game four, Sandy comes back and he pitches a complete game. And yeah, so what is that? 3 complete games in one series in the World Series? 4 pitchers altogether. Why can't we have that now? Why can't we have people like that? They get hurt so easy. These guys. They don't. The managers don't want to tire them out. Why were things so much cooler back then? I don't understand it. I mean, these are legends. These are living legends. I mean, the things that they accomplished. Imagine pitching 2 complete games in the same series. I mean, it just doesn't happen. But I mean, it wasn't just him; it was the whole team. I mean, they went out there and they kicked ass. I mean, why can't we have that now? Why are people these I don't know. It's like why were things so much better back then? I don't understand it. Could you imagine that happen? That would never happen today, ever. It's hard enough to find one complete game today. I don't know, but I don't know. It's just I hate that I couldn't watch that era. I mean, this is a good era to be in. Don't get me wrong, especially for a Dodger fan. But man, I mean, that would have been. I mean, just watching those guys would have been fantastic. Um, yeah, and it does pain me that I'm so far away from Dodger Stadium. I mean, it's not even feasible for me to go there, but it is what it is. But yeah, what happened? I don't understand it. Why can't we? What happened? We got great people today, but I mean, nothing like that. I mean, that's amazing that happened. 4 pitchers in the World Series to win the World Series. Excuse me. Man. But anyway, but then people are going to say, it's so boring just watching them throw the ball for forever and ever. And, the Yankees, they should have had, the sweeps. Sweeps are boring. Yeah, whatever. I like watching greatness. I like it when people just go out there and just completely obliterate anybody else in the competition. It could be baseball, it could be football, it could be golf. I like to watch it. Or just anything. I like to watch, it could be Survivor. Somebody just dominates the season. I enjoy watching it. I like seeing people do good. I like to see people who are great at doing something. Singing, reality competition, sports, it doesn't matter. You could be good at fixing the changing a light bulb. If you're the best at it, I want to watch it. Oh man. People always want to say, hey, he wasn't that great. He wasn't that great. I like greatness. But moving on. Yesterday. Oh, yesterday. Why can't I remember yesterday? It was such an easy game to play when I was there. And yesterday, I went out for margaritas with my friends from back home because I wanted to win yesterday. That's how it goes, right? Yeah, so my friends invited me out. They texted me. They were like, I was already kind of wanting to go out anyway because when you're a senior, you can do that kind of thing, go out on a Wednesday. And so I get a text from 2 friends of mine, Nikki and Tiz, and they want to come on the show, by the way, so I'll probably have them on. And they say, "Yeah, why don't you come out with us to Jake's?" And I'm like, yeah, okay. That was exactly what I wanted to do. So they texted me earlier. They're like, we're actually going to meet for margaritas first at Tio's, which is like it's like right on campus. And they let anybody in there. What is this? Emails. Oh gosh, is there any worse feeling when you get an email? It's like, oh gosh, what went wrong now? But yeah, we went to Tio's, which is like, they let in freshmen. They let you could be 12 years old drinking margaritas at this place, and they're good. We get a tower. It comes in this big thing, and you split it 3 or 4 ways, and it's a good time. Um, and they're like, people always make fun of us for coming here. I'm like, why? Why do they make fun of you? They're like, well, it's like a freshman thing. It's like, I'll be coming here if I live in the area, which I hope not, but if I do, I'll be coming here till I'm 65 years old drinking these margaritas. A good margarita is a good margarita. And there's few things as valuable on this earth than a good margarita. That's how I feel. But anyway, we're there. It was a good time. I think I ate my weight in chips and salsa, but it was worth it. Salsa and queso. Um, well, I didn't eat dinner, so that was my dinner. It's a bunch of chips and salsa and queso and margaritas. Sounds like a good dinner to me. But yeah, so and my friend tells me, she's like, yeah, I have a ticket for the Masters, but I can't go. I'm like, excuse me, what? It's like, yeah, somehow somebody has a ticket and they offered it to me, but I'm like, I can't go. I'm like, why are you here right now? Go to the freaking Masters. Are you kidding me? She's like, well, I can't go. I have an exam on Friday. I'm like, well, I get that, but dang, that's horrible. I would have gone for Thursday. I would have done it. Go Thursday, you leave. What is it? I mean, you can't go past sundown, right? Yeah, but then you got to study. Oh, that's a horrible situation to be in. I'm like, well, can I have the ticket? I don't know. I would have, if she had given me the ticket, I would have left right then and there. I mean, just to be able to go to like the the sport event. I mean, one of the most prestigious. See, I said prestigious because that's how you know when you're really high class is when you say prestigious, not prestigious, prestigious. Prestigious events of the year. I mean, sports or whatever. I mean, one of the most exclusive, prestigious things. And I mean, yeah, I feel bad she couldn't go, but man, I would have jumped at that opportunity. But well, what can you do? If you have an exam, you have an exam. I don't know. I would have figured out a way. Life finds a way. Manoli finds a way. I would have been at that Masters somehow, some way. But I digress. What can you do? What can you do? To see that the Masters gone wasted, gone empty. Yeah, so we left there, and it was storming again. It was raining and storming again, and so we went to the other place, Jake's, which is like, and we went. They have an inside and an outside. We went inside naturally. We were there. We hung out there for a minute, and oh my gosh, I got in this. I mean, okay. I've taken a lot of Ubers, and 99.9% of the time they're wonderful. This was the point one, or no, I'm sorry, the point zero. Wait, yeah, the point one. The 10th of a % of the times where it's hell. This guy, I never seen him. There's not many people with a purple car. I mean, it's just I'm not judging it. It's just a choice, okay? A purple car. It's just a choice. And I like purple. Actually, it's one of my colors. Whenever I wear like a suit, I like to wear like a purple shirt because it's the color of royalty, and I feel like I'm qualified to wear it. And I said that. Anyway, the guy's car is purple. I get in there. His passenger seat is backed all the way back to where I couldn't put my legs down. And I'm like, excuse me, could you please move this up? Because there's somebody next to me. Like, can you please move this up so I could sit? He's like, oh, I'm sorry, you want me to move it back? And I'm like, very funny. And I don't know. He's playing some kind of horrible. I don't know what you call it. Noise. It was noise. Some kind of mix of some kind. I don't know. Just blasting it. And I mean, literally, this guy, every time he accelerated, it was like he was trying to launch us into freaking outer space. I mean, any straight stretch of the road was just an acceleration point for what I don't. It was just it was like every time he could drive straight, he just punched it. I mean, it was like being strapped to I don't know. It was like being strapped to the to a rocket. Literally, I don't know how else to describe it. It was indescribable what this guy was doing. I mean, he was so down to turn, but Mike, I mean, dude, what is the hurry? And you're hearing this awful stuff. I mean, it was horrible. It was horrible. I needed that margarita to be able to endure the horror that was that guy's driving. I mean, that guy. I don't know what his deal was, but I mean, like I said, most Ubers are wonderful. They get you there, but this guy was beyond the pale. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, I fell asleep early, maybe like 10:30. It was before 11. Maybe it was right at 11. I'm not sure exactly. Anyway, so I woke up at like 3, 4 maybe. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what is going on. But anyway, I'm up at 3 a.m. At 4 a.m. One of those. And so what do I do? What genius thing do I do? I go back on YouTube, for God's sake. And that's always a good idea because I don't know, I went on there and I saw something about the A380 or I don't know what it was. It was like, why did the A380 fail? I'm like, oh geez. And then I was thinking, wait a minute, remember that plane that could get you across the Atlantic in like 3 hours? What was it called again? Oh, the Concorde. And I looked up things about that. I'm like, that thing was the coolest. That is like the coolest thing I ever saw. It's basically a rocket, and you put people on it, and you could be anywhere in like 3 hours. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm like, gosh, why can I have gone on the Concorde? And it was still around when I was. I mean, I think they stopped in 2003. It's like, man. I mean, imagine getting to fly around in a rocket. You know, yeah, it was expensive. Maybe people are always like, well, you probably wouldn't be able to afford it. Well, you don't know that. If I had been born, at the time, you don't know that. Who says I wouldn't have been able to afford it? Why you got to be such a naysayer? Maybe I would have been able to afford flying on the Concorde. How about that? And it's like, man, I mean, you look at videos of this thing. I mean, just the sound, and they have like the afterburners. They have like, I mean, it looks like something out of a movie. That thing just going across the sky. I mean, and all the comments, they all love it, right? They're like, man, I miss hearing that thing take off. We would always watch it. We'd always watch it take off. We were proud that we had the Concorde, the people in London or whatever. I'm like, oh, what happened? What have we done? We used to fly around in rockets, for God's sake, and now we passenger rockets, and now we can't do anything. Why? What happened to it? Well, it was inefficient. It was too expensive, and blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, it's always about that, isn't it? And people in the comments are always, well, this says something about the excess and the excess of our society. And I'm like, you YouTube philosophers. I mean, enough already, okay? The excess of our society. You're like, you don't even have your real picture out there. You're probably like 13 years old talking about the excess of our society. I don't want to hear it, all right? Why is it always about society with you? Why can't you just look at a piece of engineering and say, oh, that thing was amazing, and I wished it was still around. Maybe it was. They could have kept one going, just one, right? Would it have been that big a deal to keep one Concorde going? Just to have something cool to look at in the sky? I think it'd be worth it, Have some pride, people. These poor people, they put all that time and effort in engineering that thing. They gave you a rocket that you could pay to fly on. I mean, and it would, and it just didn't work out. It's sad. And it says something about our society. You just ruin things. The human race. They always say humans. These people. They act like they're some kind of other species. They're always like, well, humans are generally like this. Humans behave like that. Why can't you just be a good human? Blah 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 blah. It's like human. Why you got to talk like you're above us? You're a person. I'm a person. I'm not a human. I am a human, but I'm a person. There's a soul here. These people, they talk like they always got to be so scientific about it. The humanity has ruined everything. Like, yeah, well, enough already, okay? I don't want to sound like one of those people that says that, I was born in the wrong generation, but I would have liked to have seen, I would like to have seen Sandy Koufax. I would have liked to fight on the Concorde. These are things that I would have enjoyed doing. But no, oh well. I think they're bringing it back though. Maybe some kind of other supersonic jet. They have plans on it. I don't know. I don't know how these people make money. The airline industry. You're always seeing how they're bankrupt. So I looked it up. How do airlines make money? And it's basically their loyalty programs are worth more than the actual company itself, which is yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. So yeah, give that a look. That's interesting. I'm here to educate. Obviously, I'm the utmost authority in things that I know nothing about. That's how some of these podcasters are. They act like they're the expert on everything. I admit I'm not an expert on anything. Take everything you hear here with a grain of salt, maybe 2 grains. I don't know, but I was thinking it's like man, I don't know. Maybe I would have fit in back then. Think about how much better music was. I mean, I could have seen, the Stones in their prime. I could have seen Zeppelin, or I could have seen, Leonard Skinner in their prime. I mean, this is what I want to hear, people. I could have gone to, and in the '80s, I could have seen the Police or the Talking Heads. The possibilities were endless, and then now what can I go see? Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Kanye West, Drake. Do I want to see any of that? I don't want to see any of it. I don't want to hear any of it. I'm sick of hearing about those people. I mean, they put Beyonce up there like she's Shakespeare. I don't understand it. I mean, like what you like, but for God's sake, it's enough. All right. Taylor Swift. I didn't realize she was a major religion in this country now. Taylor Swift. It's like every time that she puts something out, it's like you know, it's like Mozart rose from the grave, or Gaudi came back to finish the Sagrada Familia with his own hand, or Michelangelo. They found another Michelangelo, but you don't hear about any of that. But when Taylor Swift comes out with an album, oh, you better believe you're gonna hear all about it. It's like, what's so great? I don't understand. It's like, you like her fine, but for God's sake, she's not. She's not. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe the diva worship that these people have. It's crazy. Her and Beyonce, and I don't know. It just, maybe I am an old man in a young man's body because I don't get it. You know what else I don't get? Influencers. That I hate that word. I don't like I don't like how they got to present their life like it's this picturesque, this perfect thing. Like they never did anything wrong, the influencers. And it's such a I don't know, egotistical way of thinking. Influencer. I'm going to influence you. I don't want to influence you. Why? What gives me the right to influence you? What does that even? I mean, the title in itself is just egomania. You know, how are you influencing me? I mean, you think? I mean, why should I listen to you? What do you? Why? Why? They're like, use my code. Use my code. I'm an idiot for 30% off of this great product I just happened to find. Blah 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 blah. Um, Manoli, how can you fault them? You're just trying to make some money. Yeah, I agree, but influencer, just the something about the term and the way they act, that they put off this aura, like they're just, I don't know. It's like, really, you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Just stop, okay? Enough. Stamata, as we say in Greece. Leo loves that, my little brother. He goes, Stamata. I say, Stamata you. He says, Stamata you. We go back and forth. I get more knowledge out of my 5-year-old brother than I do from any of the so-called experts. I really do. And just the things that he said. I mean, he's full of wisdom, this kid. This kid knows, but this kid already has it figured out. You know what he said to me? I said, Leo, why don't you like this? I can't remember what it was. It was like, I think it was like some bread or something. I'm like, Leo, why don't you like the bread? He's like, I just don't. That's just how life works. People like things and people don't like things. I'm like, well, there you go. You got to figure it out. He's 5 years old, the kid. He'll be 6 in less than a month. Happy birthday to Leo. Happy birthday to you. I'm always excited for that. He loves presents, this kid. Oh, he loves presents. I mean, who doesn't, right? Anybody who says they don't like presents is lying, okay? Everyone likes a good present, a good present. Yeah, but I mean, you may not like, there's just something exciting about getting something and not knowing what it is. It happens to me all the time. I order stuff and then it comes in the mail. I'm like, what could it be? It could be a book. It could be, paper towels. I have no idea what it's going to be. The other day it was a phone case, phone wallet, because I like to keep all my stuff right where I can see it. And I never lose my phone, so I know I'm going to always have my driver's license and my credit card and all that kind of thing. Yeah, so I recommend, I'm not an expert, but maybe I am an expert on phone wallets, okay? And I think that's going to do it on this Thursday. I'm still awake from 3 a.m. I don't know what's going to happen. I have class in a minute here. My internet's down, so I don't know when this is going to go up. But, yeah. Enjoy opening day of baseball. Enjoy the Masters. Enjoy your Thursday. And I'll see you very soon.